Friday Night SmackDown review for the July 18th episode of SmackDown. I'm Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling. Well, you look at it here. This is going to be the last SmackDown review by myself. That is right. Will comes back on Monday. I want to send a special shout out to each and every one of you that have helped me along the way here, helped me with the streams, helped me with the videos, hung out, left comments, all that fun stuff. You guys are great. I know Will cannot wait to get back. But let's get right into the episode. The episode will start off a little bit weird today, admittedly. You pretty much start the show and they go to the parking lot and the MFTs have been in a car wreck. Think to yourself, what is going on? There's a car pretty much smashed another car, basically just hit one from the side. Tongaloa's like bleeding from his eye. They're questioning Solo. Hey, who could this be? Who could this be? Who could this be? Well, we would find out later on. But basically, you would get a Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss package, basically. Like a little bit of a video promo, a little bit of an earlier in the day. Hey, here's what happened with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And then we'd go right into the match. We would get Charlotte Flair with Alexa Bliss versus Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne. And honestly, this was great. We would find out right before the match that is going to take place at SummerSlam. Charlotte and Alexa versus Raquel and Roxanne. Sign me up. We'll get into that at the end of this match. But it would be pretty good. Charlotte at one point did a Rana off the top rope that didn't really look like a Rana. I mean, I'm no expert, but it was not great. Rana, Raquel over the side. She ended up clotheslining Raquel over the ropes. Then she did a crossbody over the ropes to Raquel. You have Raquel ended up driving Charlotte into the post. Commercial break happens. You would end up having back and forth abdominal stretches for a long time. Raquel would have a headlock on Charlotte at one point. Raquel did this really cool like backbreaker submission on Charlotte Flair when they came back from commercial break. I thought to myself, well, that's pretty cool. She should use that more often. They should make that more menacing. I really liked that. You'd end up getting the corkscrew splash by Raquel. I believe Wade calls it a twisted Vader bomb or an inverted Vader bomb, something along those lines, right? Then you would get a crossbody from Charlotte Flair off the top. Well, then they love watching John Cena CM Punk because it would be a roll through by Raquel and a slam. Charlotte would then go for the figure eight later on, and this is the ending sequence. Roxanne Perez would jump up on the ring apron to distract. Well, the referee goes over there. Well, while that happens, Raquel gets up while Alexa Bliss is on the other side. Alexa grabs her head, boom, on the top rope, and it goes right into a roll-up 1, 2, 3. Charlotte Flair defeats Raquel Rodriguez here in the opening match. And like I said, we do find out Charlotte and Alexa versus Raquel and Roxanne at SummerSlam. I thought the Fatal 4 at Evolution was great, was fantastic. Well, you look at the really only team that you could have come out of that, Charlotte and Alexa. You need Charlotte and Alexa on the card at SummerSlam. This is a perfect way to do that. And honestly, I'm finding myself really, really enjoying Charlotte and Alexa as a tag team. I didn't think that would be the case. I didn't think I would find myself cheering for both of them and liking the pairing. I thought to myself, there's no reason to throw these two together. These two could be accomplishing so much more. WWE always does this, and they always waste their top women's stars in this tag division. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Well, I was completely wrong. So shout out to you that thought, hey, this was a great idea. I think Raquel and Roxanne, and honestly, Dom at the end of the day, I think those three all lose their titles at SummerSlam. So yes, if I had to pick really early on, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, I do think take those tag titles away from Raquel and Roxanne at SummerSlam. Maybe you get a Liv Morgan run in. I understand Liv is hurt. I understand the shoulder, right? I understand she had surgery, but it's in her hometown. You got to think she would make some sort of appearance, even if it's not a big one. Obviously, nothing physical, anything like that. But go ahead, give me more Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. At the end of the day, that's what this is about. Sign me up. More of that, please, and thank you. Right after this, we would find out basically backstage the cops are looking for Jacob Fatu because Solo Sikoa has named him as a person of interest. And Fatu says, well, I don't want to go with the cops. Adam Pearce, who's filling in for Nick Aldis tonight, says, well, just talk to him. And he goes, no, I don't want to do that. And eventually he just kind of goes and walks away with them. At this point, you would go ahead and get a Tiffany Stratton versus Jade promo package, little back and forth vignettes, back and forth little interviews. Basically, Tiffany says, well, she's a champ. She's been a champ before. We've both been champs. We both had betrayal friendships, but I still have my title. She doesn't have her title. And Jade basically says, well, Tiffany doesn't think that she can defeat me. Well, she's wrong. I've been improving. All this time I've been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting through everything. So a storm's coming at SummerSlam, and that's pretty much what they had. Honestly, this was a smart way to do this. I think if they do this feud, this is the smart way to do it. Have the backstage promos, have the back and forth like that. where they can really just edit them and edit them and edit them and edit them. I don't think either one is good enough on a mic to go in front of the live crowd, which kind of sucks to say about the women's title on SmackDown. But I think if this is the way they're going to do it, this is smart here. So good job, WWE, on that. So I'm going to pop the Charlotte and Alexa stuff. I guess I give us a pop for the Tiffany and Jade stuff, even though that wasn't great, right? Nothing to write home about. Didn't even take any notes down really on what they said. But I think it's a smart decision by WWE to do that. So that's why I'm going to pop that. Now we would get another earlier in the day video, and it was Damian Priest looking for Aleister Black, and him and Carmelo get into it. And basically Carmelo's like, hey, I used to think you were somebody, but you're nobody. Damian Priest is like, well, I am somebody. I'm going to beat the hell out of you tonight. So let's have a match. Do you like that? And Carmelo's like, yeah, I like that a lot. So we'd find out we have a match. Damian Priest, hey, welcome back, Damian. It's been a while since you've been in the ring. Versus Carmelo Hayes. Hey, Carmelo, it's been even longer. We missed both of you. Sign me up for this. This was a fun match. Honestly, it was ended how you would think, which we'll get to here in a second. But Damian Priest allowed Carmelo Hayes to get a ton of offense in. Carmelo looked fantastic here. So Carmelo would actually attack Damian Priest during the entrance while Priest is on the turnbuckle doing his flex, right? Carmelo would drop kick Priest into the post on the outside right after that. After Damian tried to drive him in it, they fought to the outside of the ring. Damian would end up getting to come back in. But then here's where the offense really comes in for Carmelo. You get Carmelo doing that springboard shoulder tackle he loves to do. He ended up getting that like whirling face buster also on Damian. I didn't write that down, but it was great. Carmelo actually ends up tuning up the band. We are in San Antonio, home of Shawn Michaels, and it would get reversed. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, that wasn't very smart. Carmelo, what are you doing? Stop showboating. Well, turns out Carmelo had all the keys to Damian Priest, right? He studied. He watched his tape clearly because Razor's Edge wouldn't happen. Well, no, it wouldn't. Reversal by Carmelo Hayes. You think to yourself, okay, well, that's pretty cool. South of Heaven coming from Damian Priest. No, it wouldn't. He'd reverse that into a code breaker. Carmelo Hayes would. Carmelo Hayes would actually hit a frog splash. They fight to the outside again. Priest actually drives Carmelo onto the announce table. And this is where the ending sequence would happen. They come back. They fight back into the ring. And Carmelo's in the ring. Damian Priest climbs up. He goes for his old school win. Aleister Black appears kind of out of nowhere. Then Aleister Black sits there and looks at Damian Priest and says, no, I don't like you very much anymore. We're fighting. And he goes ahead. He pulls Damian Priest off. Damian Priest lands on the top rope. Basically, they go into the ring and Black mass. Boom. Aleister Black lays out Damian Priest, which was fine. Nothing really crazy to write home about. I'm a little upset that it's happening at the expense of Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo honestly looked great tonight. I want more Carmelo Hayes. I also wouldn't be surprised now if they do end up running an Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes versus R-Truth and Damian Priest at SummerSlam. Yes, as a tag match. Yes, I understand. But if you want to get Carmelo and Truth on the card, that's a quick, easy way to get two other guys on the card. I don't know if they'll do that. They might just end up doing just the one-on-one, which you can sign me up for that. We would now get a Wyatt 6 promo as we're kind of like cutting out of that into the Wyatt 6 kind of spooky TV glitching thing that we always like to get. And they said, look up sins. We are all where we belong. The prophets only show they're together for gold. Our bond is formed by the blood we shed. We will strip these teams by their wicked desires. All you have to do is follow. And each member kind of got to say a line throughout that promo. That was fun. That was exciting. We would find out later on in the night they have a tag title defense next week versus the winner of the Fatal 4-Way. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But I was wondering, how do you build a feud with the Wyatts? Because admittedly, they're really good with their backstage recorded promo stuff. I love that stuff from them. I think it's great. But it's hard to do that on live TV, right? You could a little bit, but they haven't even really tried. And honestly, any of the teams that were in the Fatal 4-Way contender match, they don't really cut great promos either. So you're sitting there like, man, how are they going to do this? Well, that's why I would find out, hey, next week, tag title match. You can sign me up for that. And we'd go from one promo to another because Solo and the MFTs would come out. Solo says, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a perfect example of who Jacob really is. All he cares about is himself. I did all these things for him. He talks about I put money in his pocket, food on his table. I made him a champion. I made him relevant. He deserves none of it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I really like this Solo Sikoa. I should have known, once a criminal, always a criminal. So they were really kind of leaning into that. And then all of a sudden you see a police car drive up on the screen. You're thinking to yourself, what is going on? Big Jim is there greeting the police car's arrival. And out steps Jacob Fatu. And we find out he is not a person of interest. He has been cleared of any wrongdoing. And so Jacob says, you know what, I'm done with this. And he heads to the ring. And he goes right to the ring. And basically the four MFT members, so JC, Talatanga, Tangaloa, Solo are in the ring. Jacob Fatu's coming from this way. Well, Jimmy, Big Jim, coming from this way. And they're like, okay, we're going to attack him on two sides. Well, they take out the MFTs. Basically, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, what is happening? Tala Tonga ends up booting Big Jim on the outside, though. He clears the table off to kind of put Big Jim through the table, where the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, does a suicide dive, knocks Tala Tonga over the announce table. And then you get a really cool shot. Jacob's doing his little dance. Tala Tonga rises from behind the table. Really kind of cool shot. Then he grabs both Jacob Fatu and Big Jim. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's going to double choke slam these people through the announce table. No, he wouldn't. You got super kick, double super kick. Then you had Solo Irish whipping Big Jim into Tala Tonga, who does like a crossbody over the barricade. And then at this point, there's a chair that gets thrown in the ring. Jacob Fatu is going after Solo, who is in the ring. Solo tries to run. Big Jim ends up tossing him back in. You get the tribal cheeks from Jacob Fatu. And he goes to put the tribal cheeks around on a Solo Sikoa with a chair around his neck, right? I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, they're really trying to write Solo Sikoa off. JC comes for the save. Basically, beatdown ensues of JC of Tagaloa. And at this point, I'm talking you get a splash from Big Jim. You get a prettiest moonsault ever from Jacob Fatu. The chair, they just chair shot. Adam Pearce comes out, who, like I said, he is filling in for Nick Aldis tonight. And he announces Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu, SummerSlam Steel Cage match, U.S. title. Sign me up. But that wasn't it, because then the cops would come out and Adam Pearce would say, yeah, right there, arrest that man. And Solo goes, yeah, arrest him, yeah. Well, the cops just go and arrest Solo, and they carry Solo Sikoa off to jail, presumably. So we do find out Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa Steel Cage match, U.S. title, SummerSlam. I couldn't be more excited for this. I understand it is a way to keep all of the MFTs and Big Jim out of the steel cage. I have a feeling, though, that's not really going to be the case. I still think we're going to get some shenanigans. I think we're still going to get somebody coming back. We're going to get some sort of entrance into the steel cage, right? I think the whole point is to keep them out, but they find themselves to find a way back in. Hopefully we don't get Jesse Ventura talking about somebody using the steel cage door this time. I hope that's not really a thing. But for a feud that really kind of needs something to really kind of drive it home, a U.S. title, a big time stipulation on this match, I think this is great. I can't wait to see Solo and Jacob just go at it. Shut the door and let's get after it. This is going to be great. I think we're going to get a Jacob Fatu win there, unless obviously you get some sort of return. But I would say, I think between now and SummerSlam, I know it is just a couple weeks, I think they need to book Solo a little bit stronger. I think him and the MFTs tonight didn't really look that great. And I understand they really want to push Jacob Fatu. He is over. He is the face. He has the city merch now, right? But give me a little bit more of Solo Sikoa actually feeling formidable and his MFTs actually feeling like they can be an impending doom, kind of like he did Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So sign me up for that. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, U.S. title, steel cage. That's all you got to say. And WWE is doing the draft after SummerSlam, supposedly. But honestly, if you watch this episode, you could say, why would that matter? Because Stephanie Vaquer is here. Well, you can sign me up. Steph on SmackDown, Steph on Raw, Steph on NXT. I don't really care. Give me more Stephanie Vaquer, Stephanie Vaquer. She's fighting Alba Fire. And honestly, that little intro is probably quicker than the match. It is a quick match. You do get the Devil's Kiss. You do get Steph's finisher. 1, 2, 3. Piper ends up attacking her, but she also takes out Piper Niven, and she stands tall. And you think to yourself, okay, yeah, that was cool. That was fine. Quick way to get Stephanie on TV. And that's really all there is to it. Last match of the night, we'd go to a fatal 4-way tag team #1 contender match. It'd be DIY versus Rey Fenix and Andrade versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium. And honestly, this was great. This was match of the night. Just pew, 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 pew. Fast paced, boom, everywhere. Boom, boom, hard hitting stuff. No Street Profits, which admittedly kind of sucks though. I mean, Street Profits cut a promo right before this. How do they feel about not being in it? And they're like, well, I mean, I guess it kind of is what it DIY interrupts, right? But I am a little bit confused. Why does Street Profits not get a rematch, but other people get rematches? Rematch clause is so inconsistent, and I get it. It makes sense that it's inconsistent because it's wrestling, but it doesn't make sense here. So fix that, please. You would have the winner of this fighting the Wyatts next week, so maybe you get the winner of that fighting the Street Profits at SummerSlam. Wishful thinking, hopeful thinking here. Just really kind of give me that hopium chance. But it would be Frazier and Sabin to start out. Fraxium did suicide dives everywhere. The missile dropkick. DIY would take out Andrade and Rey Fenix. You would get a top rope white noise about halfway through the match onto Axiom from Ciampa, onto bodies on the outside. I guess he was on the second rope, but ends up just an insane white noise. Sabin does a cross rope top body to DIY. You get a corkscrew dive from Rey Fenix onto people. My notes obviously do not do it justice at all. I really made those nice and short and spark noted because admittedly I thought to myself, well, how am I going to write all this down? I would have wrote everything down. I wouldn't get to enjoy the match. So if you haven't watched the match, go watch the match. You need to. I think it's about 15, 20 minutes-ish, roughly somewhere in there. Go watch the match, please. But the match would end Andrade, the message to Ciampa, 1, 2, 3. So it will be Andrade and Rey Fenix versus the Wyatt Six next week on SmackDown for the tag titles. And honestly, this tag team of Rey Fenix and Andrade has been fun. That people loved them. Rey Fenix really got some big pops tonight when he got tagged in. Andrade looks good. Andrade looks like he's pretty loved. This tag team division is stacked, so any of the 4 winners here, or the 4 options, I would have been like, yeah, you give it to them, or them, or them, or them. I don't care. It's awesome. I am a little bit bummed about the Street Profits not being in it, but I guess there's nothing I can really do about it, right? So we'll see kind of what happens next week on SmackDown. I would be very surprised if they take the tag titles off of the Wyatt Six, but who really knows? This tag division is so stacked. It could be hot potato here, hot potato there, and we get all the teams at SummerSlam. That's really kind of what I'm hoping for. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that should be a 6-team tag match at SummerSlam for the tag titles? Or would you like just 2 teams to go at it one-on-one, tag team versus tag team at SummerSlam? Let me know. As long as they put the tag team titles on at SummerSlam, I know, wishful thinking, you can sign me up. And I'm not talking about the Raw ones. I'm talking about the SmackDown ones, the ones that deserve to be on SummerSlam. But now, kind of while we're all here, not a whole lot was really advertised until maybe an hour or 2 before the show. But we knew this. We knew this was happening. We knew this was coming. Cody Rhodes, John Cena contract signing for their match at SummerSlam. I'm thinking to myself, contract signings always have shenanigans. So let's see what happens. Cody Rhodes would come out first. Cody Rhodes goes into this long promo about basically, I did not flinch. And he lists all these times, right? Including politics and the final boss when they try to take his spot against Jey Uso, against Randy Orton, against the Beast. He talks about the Rumble winning twice, right? But I did flinch one time, and it was against John Cena. And now we move on to SummerSlam, and it is one match for the rest of my life. Really kind of a decent promo from Cody, even though it was kind of just a word salad, right? Well, at this point, he says, go ahead, Adam. Do your job. Call out John Cena. Here we go. John Cena comes out. John Cena honestly had maybe the best merch of his retirement tour. Spurs themed, right? The Spurs themed towel. The U and the You Can't See Me is the Spurs stuff. The front had the old school orange, pink, green Spurs colors. I'm thinking to myself, man, I really want a shirt, even though I'm not a Spurs fan. But John would waste no time. He'd get in the ring. He'd sit down. He'd say, cut my music. Cody, sit down. I've got some bad news for you. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is not good. John looks at Cody and says, I will not be at SummerSlam. Basically, I have a movie. I'm working with Netflix. I talked to the higher ups. I talked to all of these people, and I'm emotionally exhausted. And we've all agreed that I should not wrestle. So I'll give you your rematch. We could do it in Paris. We could do it in Perth. But in no good faith can I sign this contract, because he says, once I've signed the contract, I have to show up at SummerSlam. There's nothing I can do. This is what's best for business. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your patience on the matter. And John Cena walks out. Well, Cody Rhodes is pretty much confused by the whole thing, but Cody Rhodes knows John Cena's leaving after he said he can't fight. Cody Rhodes doesn't like that. Cody Rhodes takes off his suit. Cody Rhodes goes and he brings the fight to John, right? Attacks John from behind. They fight back down towards the ring. He goes to Irish whip John into the stairs, but John would reverse, throws Cody into him. He even hits Cody's head. Boom, right on the stairs. Cody ends up rolling into the ring. John Cena sees this as an opportunity. He dropped the title up the ramp, runs up the ramp, comes back, and he sets up for that good old title shot, one we've come to basically know and love from John Cena on Cody Rhodes. I'm sitting there thinking, Cody, please. Cody, please. Cody, please. Duck, 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 duck. Well, Cody Rhodes does duck. Then he hits John with a little boom, bow, 1, 2. Ends up kicking John. I thought it was really cool. When he kicks John, John goes, whoop, and the title flips up in the air. Cody Rhodes catches it. Cody Rhodes does not flinch this time. Cody Rhodes, boom, John, how you like that? A taste of your own medicine. I'm like, oh man, I'm really loving this new Cody Rhodes. Basically, he'd go ahead, he'd fight John a little bit more, get John on top of the contract signing table. Cody Rhodes would climb up to the top rope. I'm thinking to myself, well, Cody doesn't do any moves from up here. With the contract in hand, splash, John Cena goes through the table. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's a hell of a way to end a contract signing. It would not be over, though. John Cena is passed out. Cody Rhodes sees that opportunity. Cody Rhodes grabs like the Sharpie that's nearby. Cody Rhodes wraps his hand around John Cena's hand, holding the Sharpie, signs the contract. And I'm thinking, oh man, that's forgery, Cody. I don't think that counts, but it is wrestling, so it counts. And he looks at John and he says, check the fine print, John. It's not just a normal match. It's a street fight. And I'm thinking, holy hell. So now we find out Cody Rhodes versus John Cena won't just be a normal match at SummerSlam for the title. It will be a street fight. And this is awesome. This is great. I'm really enjoying this new Cody Rhodes, this new twisted, kind of not flinching Cody Rhodes, really kind of taking every opportunity to take what is his, to take what he thinks he deserves. And honestly, tonight showed John Cena being more of the sympathetic face character. I think they're really leaning into this double turn. And honestly, it's going to happen at SummerSlam. You've got more of the heelish Cody Rhodes, right? Cody's never going to be a full-on heel right now. Maybe further down the line, but right this second, they definitely have hinted at more of a heelish Cody Rhodes time and time and time again. I mean, when would Cody Rhodes take somebody out with the title? When would he splash on them through the table from the top rope? And when would he forge somebody's signature onto a contract? I'm thinking, man, I really enjoy this Cody Rhodes. And tonight showed me the John Cena character is starting to lean back more with the babyface, the apologizing, the best for business. I'll give you this anytime you want, but I'm just exhausted. Can't do it right now. Might have been kind of a conniving way, you could say, for Cena to get out of it. But at the end of the day, I still think we are getting a face John Cena after SummerSlam to really end that farewell tour. And I think to go along with that, you got to have a heel Cody Rhodes. So sign me up for this. It looks like all roads, no pun intended, are pointing towards a double turn at SummerSlam. And I couldn't be happier. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about John Cena, Cody Rhodes, street fight, contract signing, double turn. Do you think it happens? Do you think Cody goes heel? Do you think John goes to face? Do you think they stay the same? What do you think really happens? Let me know. And like I said, thank you guys for stopping by the live stream. Will be back on Monday for Raw. He might not be here at the beginning, but he did say he should come basically show up during the stream. So make sure you're there. And for everything else wrestling related at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, TikTok Reacts, Instagram, all that fun stuff. If you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, share with people here on YouTube. But until next time, I'm Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. I'll see you guys on Monday for Will's return for Raw.